Hi, I'm here today going to present to you a graphic recording I made during a workshop of Shona Cameron. Shona Cameron is a trainer for nonviolent communication, also for short NVC. And Shona is also an assessor when you would like to become a trainer. And in this two-day workshop 2 weeks ago, when I made this graphic recording, we got together with a community, a Slovenian community, that has a lot of people who would like to become a certified trainer. And so what we practiced together with her as she came into Slovenia on invitation to dive deeper in the topic of feedback. And why feedback? As feedback is a tool that can be used very well for growing a community. It certainly helps you to grow personally, but also supports the community from growing. And so a couple of things that we have been looking at together, I will just walk you through briefly. And that actually started off with exploring together what are the let's say themes that you can look at when you even think of asking for feedback or giving feedback. And some of them are, for instance, that you need to be clear about the purpose of the feedback, or is the feedback to support inclusion, or is it to come to some sort of completion after maybe a meeting. But also to be aware about the impact that we have, or the capacity that we have ourselves to receive the feedback, or maybe even also to give it, and to be able to stay in dialogue, that when you do give it, there might be a response because you have an impact. And now that this impact is there with the other person, are you able, not only able, but do you also have the capacity in that moment to stay in the dialogue and receive back what kind of impact you have on the other person? So that the learning and growing can happen actually on both sides. And also the quantity of feedback that you might give. Is it something that the other person can fully receive in that moment? Is it truly a gift? Is it truly in service of the other person, or both of you? Or is it in service of the community? Because another thing that we explore together is that empathy given in a community setting can help us to shift our core beliefs in a very powerful way. And so when being in that practice together, there is a level of trust and transparency that starts to emerge out of being in that vulnerable space together. The way that we practiced giving feedback was by doing empathic listening sessions, and then at the end move into giving each other's feedback. That kind of looked like this. Person A expressed, person B was the listener, and person C was the coach, available to both people if they would get lost in what they were doing. Then the feedback was given by the person expressing and by the coach to the listener. Now, we noticed in the group that I was practicing with that there was a kind of flow in that listening moment. And there was an image that came to me, which I have drawn here in the middle section. And before we started, it was clear to us, as Shona spoke with us about this, that there is the attention that you like to have to the present moment, to what is going on in the other person, what is going on in me, what is going on here around us, so that I'm really fully present and have my awareness and my attention for what is happening right here and how do we feel. Intention is about what is inside me, with what ears am I intending to listen to the other person, and how can I hold the space for the other person from that intention. Now, in that moment of being starting as the listener and kind of like diving into this listening process to receive the person expressing where they are, I kind of saw it like it is like diving into the ocean, and we're like going to that person where they are. And before, as a listener, I can really connect with somebody. I'm holding the attention and intention, both. And it takes a while for me to fully settle into having a balance between that and getting the other person, understanding what they're speaking about, and just simply settling, grounding into this moment. That is what I've drawn here as diving into the water. And it is a moment that could be experienced like there's some sort of tension, which we found interesting, as the word tension is both in these two words. It might be very short, it might be longer, it might not happen at all, but we noticed in my group that most of the time there would be at least some moment of it. And that is the moment then before we get to being fully present, fully listening to the other person, receiving them with an open heart, being able to reflect and fully connect. Now the person expressing might even go deeper. So we might go along with the person to hold that space on an even deeper level and be even more connected with each other. How do you know now that the process is done? That the person is fully heard? Which often happens when they stop talking or the words become less and less and less. And that might be a good moment to check in with the person. Do they have a sense of being heard? Do they have a sense of being complete? Or anything that feels comfortable for you or connecting in that moment, to check with them if that would be a good moment to bring closure. Another part that I would like to present to you is something we spoke about also relatively at the start in connection to the purpose and capacity and so on for giving feedback. And that was the Johari window model. Now the Johari window model is a model that helps us understand something about ourselves. We can also say it's a way to grow an open heart, and by asking and giving feedback, we can see this window for feedback as a window for connection. Now I'll explain a little bit more about it so you understand what this is. Is that the Johari window model is about 4 quadrants, and the first one is about an open area. It's free. Everybody knows, it's known by myself and known by others. What are my pitfalls, or what are my skills? What are anything that's present for me as a person? Now a blind area is unknown by myself, but it's known by others. And this area is where we can move into, or so to say, we can increase that open area by asking for feedback, because others will see it, but we ourselves don't. If you would want to expand the other direction, it means that we know something, but others don't. And so we need to tell something about ourselves to others. Probably very vulnerable place, and we might want to have a lot of trust in that with the people that we speak, so that the hidden area becomes smaller, because these are things that maybe under certain circumstances I might share with others or ask for support in terms of getting feedback on it, but others wouldn't just know about it. So it totally depends on my willingness to reveal something about myself, that others might know something they didn't know about me before. An example of that could be that in a certain community I might not expose experiences from my past that very much influence me in my acting. So it's something I know about myself and others don't, because they didn't know me before. But it does influence my acting. And for others to understand something about me, to learn about me, to get closer to me, even to connect on a deeper level with me, I might want to share with close friends or a community something that brings me closer with the people. The last area is the unknown area. So this is both not visible to myself and not to others. This is often where trauma is hidden. And so when we would keep increasing by asking for feedback or telling others things about ourselves, we start to grow this free area. And so that is really the way to grow that open heart, because we can express ourselves to others, show ourselves vulnerable, and at the same time also take in what others might be able to tell about us that contributes to my well-being and my growth, as long as I have the willingness and the capacity to receive it. So this is about asking for feedback and self-disclosure or exposure. Now there is here a little area in the middle, which is about a shared discovery. So those are the moments when in a conversation with people, you might want to explore together what is yet unknown still about us, and how can we uncover any of that together. Now this could be applied on me as a person or on you as a person, but also we can do that in a community setting, because all of this, it could be seen as this is what is visible to the community and to people outside of the community. So in that case it's not self, but it's community, or another group, or even a family or a relationship, and so on. Oh yeah, shame. Here I made a note. Shining a light on your shame helps to dissolve it. And it's something that we discovered with the group, that in that blind area, or sometimes in the hidden area, in order to tell something about others, we might have to overcome our shame. And if that's what you like to know more of, you can look into the work of Brené Brown. If you have a sense that you have more of a shame around your blind spots, it might be helpful for you to speak with people who are close to you, who you trust, where you're trusting that they have a willingness to fully receive you, and that they have the capacity to really listen, to really go with you down into the sea and maybe even further, and that they don't hold any judgment around what's going on for you, so they can really hold a space for you to grow and to free up that energy and move and make yourself larger, and your capacity to have this open heart for everybody. And the last thing I'd like to share with you is about the attention and intention piece. And I drew a little bird here, and the bird is wondering how to become an eagle and be the observer with awareness and compassion. Now, that's the moment when you're listening to somebody and holding these both pieces within yourself. And a couple of things that might be helpful for you to consider as you start listening to other people is that your intention is always on connection, and that the questions you can ask yourself is, am I still connected to myself, to the other person? Might I want to pause the other person? Might I want to ask or offer a reflection, because it's becoming hard for me to follow where they are. And in order to support that connection, it's good for me to give a reflection back on what I think I have understood. Another thing is that asking yourself, are we together in the same space, focused on connection? And if not, what might I do as a facilitator of this conversation to bring back that awareness and to again set myself back into the intention of connection? Am I still here? Am I not somewhere else with my thoughts? Now for attention, there are questions such as what is alive in the moment, or what do I need? Just as I said, I might want to offer a reflection because I'm losing the person, and it would help me to stay connected by giving a reflection back. Also, what does the other person need? Am I listening with full presence? Am I listening more from a place of empathic presence, or is it more helpful for the person to receive a reflection or to receive some needs gases, or maybe even if it would be the case that maybe you're walking around or the person is in tears about something that happened. Empathic action is also a way to offer empathy by bringing a glass of water or by doing another action that you think in that moment is more connecting than giving any words back. And one last thing, very, very important, is in this whole process of going with the person, being with the person, slow down. Slow down. There is no need to rush. Take your time to connect with the other person, and take your time to check with yourself, am I still fully present? Slowing down is just giving so much space for the other person to ventilate and to have a sense that they're being fully heard, and this attention that they're receiving in that moment, the moment that they get a sense like they're being heard, just totally calms their system down. Now, that was the last piece I wanted to share with you. I hope that there was anything in this that was helpful for you, and if you were one of the people present here, I look forward to receive some feedback.